pushing the boundaries of expectations, and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Well, greetings and welcome back, KB Creators, for another adventure of manifesting, attracting, desiring, believing, and changing to live our best lives together. I'm Stephen Canyon. So glad you could join us. StephenCanyon.com is the website. While visiting, make sure you sign up to receive insights. And also, while visiting, knock on the door of the private Facebook group. You'll be invited in to begin interacting with other Kinetic Believers. Another great tool for staying motivated in your Kinetic Belief is receiving KB's text messages. Staying personally in touch with all you guys. Simply text the word Kinetic to 31996, and you're in. Only available in the U.S. for now. You want to add anything to all of that?
Yes.
Say something.
What is it that you always pass up?
Something about Instagram, maybe. I don't know. What is it?
The Instagram. Follow Stephen.
That's it.
At Stephen Canyon on Instagram.
As only Miss Meg can say. Greetings to you,
Greetings,
my favorite little friend. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm really good.
Well, are you ready for the best weekend of your life?
Yes.
I know you are, because we've already been dancing.
We did have a dance party.
We were just dancing to the Stones right before we... I'm still out of breath.
Help myself.
Gosh, girl, you can dance.
I really can.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Where'd you learn those moves?
I don't know. That's a great question. I was just thinking that. Where did I learn that? No one else in my family can dance.
Boy, you sure can. I hope your family's not listening.
Well, if they are, they would go, she's right. We can't. They know.
We were talking earlier also about some things that people like to do that are just universal. And, and it's kind of like everybody thinks that they're being original, but you and a million other people are doing the same thing, like going to Target. Oh, you thought you were so special because you love going to Target. It's on your...
No, you don't realize. I love going to Target. It's really...
Me too.
I know. No, you can't. It's just my thing.
And long walks on the beach in the rain. Oh, that really is special.
That really is amazing, though.
And then we go to Target.
Yeah. But, if it's that wonderful, I don't mind everyone else doing it. Let's all do it together.
But, seriously, it has always been that way. We think that we're just all original. And in most ways we are.
Right.
But when we follow the crowd.
Oh, what is it? Remember that movie with Jack Black and Nacho Libre? And he's in love with the nun. And she's telling him, like, my favorite food is toast, and my favorite color is beige. But she goes through all these things that
puppies.
she loves.
I like puppies,
and
too.
puppies. And he goes, those are all my favorite things, too.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
It's like those dating websites, and they start talking about the things.
I know.
I like the Stones.
We're all very similar, aren't we?
Well, it's always been that way. And think about it. 1,000 years ago, most people were probably eating some kind of fish pizza on a Friday night, getting ready to go see some horror show at the Shakespeare Theater. Me too.
It sounds fantastic.
Doesn't it, though?
Actually.
Can we please? I don't know. But seriously, would you rather go into the past and meet your ancestors or go into the future and meet your great-great-grandchildren?
Oh, my gosh. What a question. That's overwhelming me. That's overwhelming me. It really is. What if you went into the future, though, and there's nothing there? That's kind of macabre, isn't it? Where is everyone?
Or into the past.
Right, but...
Who are you?
I want to see my great-great-great-grandchildren.
You think so? I mean, if you could go back 500 years and meet your ancestors, or go into the future 500 years and meet your great-great-great-grandchildren.
The idea of traveling to the past has always freaked me out a little bit, because I feel like I would just immediately be like, oh, she's a witch or something.
Well, I think that I would rather go into the past because I have you've got a better sense of history.
Well, you would be king or something. You have nothing to very about.
Well, but you have a better sense of history than you do of the future.
Yeah,
so
I don't know. That's a great question. I could talk about this probably for the next 3 hours.
Well, answer it on the fly.
On the fly, my gut reaction is the future.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
I don't either.
Let's work on stomping out some unbelief,
You know what happened in the past. I mean, there are history books. They're not future books.
There's a little bit of comfort that comes with knowing your history as opposed to the complete unknown of the future.
I would sure as heck know what to invest in.
That's enough of that. Let's work on stomping out some unbelief here today. I like the imagery of stomping because
Yes.
well, that's the attitude that gets something done, right?
I immediately saw our niece.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Well,
Stomping it
because
out.
we need to learn to be bold where unbelief is concerned. I mean, just get your back up. Unbelief is present wherever there is double-mindedness, uncertainty, and doubt or worry. Why is this so important? It's because if there's unbelief at work, then your kinetic belief is of no effect. So we have to stomp out unbelief.
Wow.
It's my desire that wisdom for living abundantly be imparted through spending time with knowledge. And the more that we invest our time in gaining wisdom, the stronger we become in the desire of our creative authority. Ignorance is the playground for foolish adventures.
Oh, wow. Will you say that one more time?
Ignorance is the playground for foolish adventures. I mean,
Wow.
it's the lack of knowledge. It's the lack of understanding, the lack of knowing what creatively belongs to you that keeps a person in lack. A lack of knowledge results in unbelief, okay? And the inner voice of condemnation, and that's simply negative energy that's being articulated inwardly. Your mind is always working. You're always creating this inner dialogue and thoughts and sentences, and you're creating this hybrid of a universe, of a reality that's not necessarily true. But if you continue along that thought process of what's going on inside, then you are articulating something that will become factual. It becomes your subjective belief, works its way out to become an objective belief.
Wow.
So the inner voice of condemnation, the negative energy that's being articulated, becomes the loudest voice within consciousness, amplified. It's the loudest noise that's going on inside your head. And that's the voice that tells you that, for example, you're sick or you're broke, you're depressed, I'm a failure. Remember what they said about me in school. Remember what Mama and Dim told me I could or could not do.
Yeah.
But it's that negative inner voice that's overruled by the wisdom of creative authority. Once we have the insight for this, we can object to the claims of the negative inner voice. We can begin getting our back into it, stomping on it where needed. And if we don't have the inner light for this, we'll just believe what the voice of negative condemnation is trying to convince us of us otherwise, and we'll just stay right where we are. That is until things get worse. Look, maybe you're needing healing today in your body. And you've been journaling to imagine yourself as though you are healed, and you're acting healed, and you're grateful to be healed, but you've been speaking your manifesting affirmations like this, saying something like, I'm so excited, I'm so thankful that my body is functioning, that it's in the perfection it was designed to function, and I am perfectly made, and I am healed of every sickness and disease. But then you allow your inner voice to fully articulate the thought over and over that says something like this. I wonder why I'm not attracting healing. I wonder why it's not working for me. Why is it that I'm still not healed? Even if you affirm that you believe you are healed and you imagine it and you say that you're grateful for it, it's possible that you can still struggle by believing what your body's telling you instead of what you're hoping to transform through the power of belief. And so you start believing those little contradictions of, I wonder why I'm not attracting healing. I wonder why it's not working for me. I wonder why I'm still not healed.
Isn't that it? Our struggles with belief, they're almost always because of what we see, or in this case, as you're telling us, what we feel in our body. It's telling us something other than what our kinetic belief is.
Have you ever heard a contradiction to what you're believing for?
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's just, it's that is the life, isn't it, of a kinetic believer?
Yeah, and with you, do those contradictions historically, and I think I know the answer because I know you.
Okay.
For you, has it typically come from others, or is it a self-defeated thought process that comes from within?
It's typically from within, I would say.
Now, looking back historically, was that original seed planted within from someone else in your life, or was it original to you?
I guess it depends on what the topic is, because I think we all have things in our life and in our past that are really specific. I was reading an article just the other day on how many people struggle with their body image. And the article was specifically because of comments by their parents. And they struggle with this, later in life. So I think it depends on the topic and if that's been something that was, like you're saying, a seed that was planted. But then there's the flip side of all of us amazing, over-analytical, internalizing
All
things.
negative seeds were originally planted by an outside source because the inner way of light, of thinking, of dwelling, we come into the natural perfectly made. And somewhere along the way, we, through some kind of a stumble, either an outside source or influence or influencer, something happens to cause us to believe in failure.
So hang on. So that was a trick question.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it was.
No, not necessarily, because...
Spoiler alert, it's all from outside influencers. That's a good point, though, because if we all maintain that childlike awe and euphoria and trust, we would never have a thought cross our minds that was negative, in contradiction to our beliefs.
Somewhere along the way, we tend to believe that we are responsible for our failures, that we are guilty. Rather than, and that typically comes because of an outside, there's been a negative influencer somewhere along the way.
Or a past failure,
It could have
or
been
a past experience,
failure, but it has to be defined as a failure. There's no such thing as failure until it's defined as such.
Right.
And so, not that it's important that we go back to the original blamer or the original negative source influencer, but what is important is to realize that originally, the original version of all of us was made perfect, without blemish. And so that's what it means to be rewilding ourselves, going back to the original genius of purpose and falling in love with that authentic version of self. Look, this is vital because it doesn't matter how long you've been a kinetic believer or how long you've been practicing the principles of attraction. You can easily slip into unbelief. Anybody can do it. And when we allow the slip to occur and keep going down the slope, well, it can reverse whatever it is that we've been working on, trying to attract into our lives.
Right.
Now, you may be thinking, well, Steve, if slipping into negative unbelief is so easy, how in the world am I going to avoid it?
Right.
I mean, nobody's perfect. What am I going to do to avoid it if it's as easy as you say? This is what I call the settled state of consciousness. In other words, once you determine the mission within your soul, let nothing stop you. Don't let anything or anyone change your mind. Let nothing turn you to the left or to the right. Get mad at the distraction if you have to and say, no, you don't. You're not going to rob me of my creation. And in this case, your mission is to be healed. And once you determine that you are healed in your imagination, stay in gratitude, for you are the healed. You are no longer sick trying to get healed. This is the action or the creative labor of kinetic belief. And we meditatively act to loosen all of those what-if thoughts.
I love that. I mean, that is exactly what I use my journal for. I'm writing in my manifesting journal to, construct images that I use to meditate on, to see, to believe, to be grateful for, which, as you say, loosen all of those what if thoughts.
Those what ifs and all those excuses
yes.
is what that represents,
It's
right?
all the same, isn't it?
Well, it's in between the thoughts of failure that the substance of peace is perfect. It's perfect there, unblemished. The substance of peace provides rest for the soul. And this is the space where our articles of conviction maintain our health. Health is the advancement of life. Sickness is the substance of health that has been broken by some type of negative contradiction. As a spiritual being having a natural experience, without the discipline of kinetic belief, we become a living example of unbelief, which adheres to the natural law of decay. Unbelief produces sickness. Unbelief produces brokenness. Unbelief produces lack and dissatisfaction. A powerful, life-changing kinetic belief is a labor of love. How is that? By approving of who we are believing who we were created to become, knowing who we were created to become, knowing ourselves, our genius of purpose, and believing our blueprint that we're working on through our manifesting journal for attracting whatever we desire. That is the powerful, life-changing, kinetic belief way of life. For example, I went to and I don't mind telling everybody, I went to the dermatologist about a month ago.
I don't mind telling you.
I don't mind telling you. I'm going to tell you a big secret of mine.
It's me.
Right. Oh, no. I went to the dermatologist and to have him look at some sun damage placed on my nose.
You're very fair-skinned.
I am.
Yeah.
It's a Scotsman,
Yes.
Scots-Irish. But he wanted to cut it off and send it out for lab work off my nose. And he said that it was going to leave an area about the size of a cigarette burn.
Oh, my gosh.
So I came home and I told you.
In the middle of your face.
Yeah, right there. And I told you what he suggested.
Yeah, he did.
And my life is one of kinetic belief. But I have to admit to you, because of what I'd been told, there was the bad report, the alarm of it, and I'm seeing what I'm seeing this.
You're processing this information.
And so it took a couple of days, but then I remember I told you, I said, Megan, all right, you see this spot on my nose? I want you to watch this. Because you can see it. It's right there right now.
Yeah.
My appointment is on.
And it had been there for a few months.
Yeah, a few months. I just hadn't dealt with it.
Yeah.
And I said, my appointment is in a couple of weeks to have this done. Mm-hmm. I'm going to cancel my appointment. I'm going to use my kinetic belief, like always.
Yeah.
Journal it. Go ahead and go through the process and apply kinetic belief to the sun damage on my nose. And I said, you watch. I'm going to heal it.
Yeah.
Well, within 2 weeks, it's disappeared. It's completely gone.
Well, and what I enjoyed was like the progress, because like a week in, you go, feel this spot. And it was about 50%. Mm-hmm. And then it just, every time I would look at it, it was literally just shrinking, disappearing.
Done that my whole life, but that's the way kinetic belief works. And I'm looking at it. I actually look in the mirror and I imagine it's gone. It's getting smaller. I'm so grateful for it. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited because it's healed. It's over. It's gone. Healing has become me. Healing has become this spot on my nose. And so it's completely gone. Called the dermatologist, canceled my appointment, said, got great news. The spot you're going to cut off my face is gone. It's healed. Dead silence. Well, that's great, Steve. Goodbye.
See ya.
Freaks them out. But that's kinetic belief. It works for everybody. And so, look, if we remain diligent to not become matter of fact or casual about our kinetic belief, but stay in it and make it a way of life in the morning, we all should be working on something every day. And it doesn't have to be sun damage on your nose. It doesn't have to be something. It can be, and there should be something on your kinetic belief list that you're working on every single day.
Well, and I really love the way that you laid out that story just now, because it actually gives us a really nice blueprint for, when something negative is showing up with this, it's a brand new situation, new information. I love how you sort of took us through the process of, okay, you're taking that information in, you're observing it, you're analyzing it, and then you make that qualifying decision to apply kinetic belief to it. Because when those things show up, the gut reaction, the biological reaction is, well, that's not, I can't control that. That's out of my control. And so having that moment of decision and commitment to that is fascinating.
Great phrase, qualifying decision, and that's what it is. A matter of fact, stomping out unbelief, getting your back up. No, I'm not doing this. I'm doing it the kinetic belief way, and I'm going to change my circumstances.
Yes.
I'm going to change my body. I'm going to change my finances. I'm going to change my relationships.
Yes.
Anything you can think of or imagine, you have the authority and the ability, the dominion to be able to imagine it changed and it changed. Look, don't make the mistake of thinking, I just know all of that law of attraction stuff, and I saw the movie The Secret. I know how to believe for my healing, and I'll just do it and forget about it. If you do it that way, you will start slipping and become distracted by what you see rather than what you've chosen to believe, or you'll be distracted by some kind of bad report. And one of these days, that inner within voice is going to offer up a contradiction to your perfect health. And you're going to believe that instead, if you do this in just a casual way.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's how you do it. You have to stay diligent in your thought processes in order to be successful as a kinetic believer.
Right. And I have to say, I've experienced that it really, used to happen to me a lot with singing. Not so much with the violin, because I did that from such a young age, but I started singing later in life, so I wasn't so used to it. I could sing something so perfect and feel great about it in practice, but then on stage in front of an audience, that voice would start to offer up a contradiction. That inner voice would start to offer up a contradiction to, what I had experienced in practice. That positive experience I had in practice all of a sudden has this contradicting voice. And of course, obviously, the challenge would be for me to choose, whether or not to believe the contradiction, or to even believe that I could really sing.
And isn't that, it's always the case when there's a large audience in front of you that the wrestling match begins?
Well, and I think that's always the sort of where the rubber meets the road of kinetic belief, is when you feel almost a physiological reaction to the contradiction. You feel that gripping the nerves, or the tightness in the chest.
Worry, doubt.
Fear, anxiety, worry, doubt. And so, because that's, since we're spirit beings in this earth suit, that's a huge contradiction. And so to have to deal with that is, like you're saying, you just have to stomp it out and get your back up.
And you've done it mightily. You sound like a Judy Garland, and
you're so
such
sweet.
A beautiful voice.
Thanks, Steve.
We were created with creative power, and created with authority, and created with dominion over the substance of all things. We get to choose. We are the final authority over what will be. And if any of you don't know what to choose life. Choose abundance. Choose to sing like only you can sing. Choose to be you. But you've got to act on what you believe. It's one thing to talk the talk, but it's another one to live it, to kinetically believe it. The law of kinetic belief is a working principle, and that the 1%ers have used since human beings were created with the authority and dominion to believe and then see. And the law of kinetic belief says this. It says that there is one substance for all things which fills the inner spaces of the universe. The quantum bias of every life form entangles with this substance to advance your life. Kinetic belief, that is the creative authority of all spiritual beings while we're having our natural experiences, to be able to willfully exercise dominion over the substance for advancing our minds and bodies and souls toward perfected completion. Now, here's the difference. If you have, let's say you've got a lower back problem, and you go to work on your kinetic belief to attract healing into your lower back, and then after imagining a healed back, being grateful for a healed back, seeing it healed, affirming by speaking aloud that it's healed, journaling the life you're imagining with a healed back. Now, don't just bend over to see if you can touch your toes. No, bend over to touch your toes. See, that's a small difference in the action of belief, but it's a huge difference in the result you'll get.
So the key here is expectation.
Expectation. To see if it works is not affirmed desire. It's not imagined in present tense that it has already come to pass. Why would you see if you could touch your toes if you have imagined your back healed?
I have to say, the expectation, it always seems like something that is kind of organic. And so it's an amazing and even a powerful concept, this idea of generating expectation.
Generating it. Another great word. Generating it on purpose, developing the expectation, and then imagining it, meditating to imagine, to see it as already having come to pass.
And it sounds, I think you already answered this previously, but as far as generating expectation, the how behind that would be kind of like you described with the sun damage on your nose. You were saying that you would just get excited. You would attach excitement. You would convey excitement for what you know to be true.
And I would look in the mirror while I was doing it. I would look at the spot and say, it's getting smaller. It's going away. I'm so excited. It's going away. It's vanishing. Yeah. It's disappearing. And I would do this time and again throughout the day. And it's gone.
Yeah.
It did
and
all
of
those things.
That assumption and expectation of what's happening, I guess.
The sun damage, lack thereof, aligned with my expectation. It had to. That is the creative substance and the imaginative power that we have through the authority of our belief.
And you're activating that Through gratitude.
Through the spoken affirmations of gratitude.
Yeah, wow.
And the imagination, seeing it as I desire it to be.
Yeah.
Look, every creative creator, which includes all of you, has that same creative power to miraculous results, to get those in your life as a way of life. But creative power is of no effect where there is unbelief. That's why a manifesting journal and a meditative affirmation guide is so vital to staying stirred up in the belief that's needed to remember what we're standing for to receive. So that when your mind begins arguing with you, like Megan standing on stage to sing, there's a battle that ensues, with all of us, when the time comes, it's crunch time, the internal dialogue, the debate that begins to ensue because of all of the negative source influence that we've all experienced through this life. And it starts telling you why you can't have it, telling you why it is that you're not qualified, reminding you of what others have said to you that might be diminishing you in some way. You take authority over that internal dialogue by reaffirming exactly who you are, and you put your back into it. Believe it and say it aloud. Look in the mirror and fall in love with the creation that you see. Get rid of that unbelief. It is toxic. It is poison. It is destructive, and it will steal from you because it destroys. Get rid of those what ifs and all of those yeah buts and every other excuse. Apply every one of your kinetic beliefs with conviction until your desire becomes exactly what your expectancy is, and become dogmatic and strong, and you begin to expect great things to show up, and I'm telling you, it will happen to you.
Yes.
Let's work on some affirmations and progress ourselves
Let's start
together.
stomping.
All right, let's start. I like that. Let's start stomping. Get ready. Say this out loud. Say, I came into the natural.
I came into the natural.
To follow the dreams.
To follow the dreams.
Of my purpose.
Of my purpose.
And to manifest those desires.
And to manifest those desires.
So that's what I'm here to do.
So that's what I'm here to do.
I desire to be.
I desire to be.
Exactly who I was meant to become.
Exactly who I was meant to become.
And no one can stop me now.
No one can stop me now.
I am attracting people.
I'm attracting people.
Who will help me manifest.
Who will help me manifest.
My abundant desires.
My abundant desires.
I am in the right place.
I'm in the right place.
At the right time.
At the right time.
Doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
Stomp my feet.
Stomp my feet.
I'm succeeding.
I'm succeeding.
In myself.
In myself.
By becoming me.
By becoming me.
So I stomp.
So I stomp.
I have the creative authority.
I have the creative authority.
To attract change to my circumstances.
To attract change to my circumstances.
Right now.
Right now.
So I stomp.
So I stomp.
I celebrate what I want.
I celebrate what I want.
By attracting who I am.
By attracting who I am.
Exactly who I'm supposed to be.
Exactly who I'm supposed to
be.
be.
So I stomp.
So I stomp.
I am healthy.
I am healthy.
And I stomp.
And I stomp.
And I'm filled with strength.
I'm filled with strength.
And energy.
And energy.
And I stomp.
And I stomp.
I'm stomping because I'm the right person for me.
I am stomping because I'm the right person for me. I just love picturing all the Kinetic Believers stomping in their kitchens and their family asking what the heck is going on. I love it. Well, I have to say, I have a new resolve to be even bolder when it comes to getting my back up, to take authority over unbelief, to nip it. It's just, it's not worth it. It will cost us. It's not worth what it's going to cost us if we tolerate it. Wow. Powerful podcast. As usual, you can pick up the guided journal, the 100-day guided journal that I have gone through countless times so far because it does grow with you. You can do that at StephenCanyon.com, and also check out the amazing Attracting Abundance 21-day e-course, perfect for the new year, to kick it off with wealth-mindedness, abundance-mindedness.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, I love your journal, and I like it when you share it with me. You're such an artist in all the...
I like to doodle.
You don't just... Well, it's not doodling. It's real
Feels like
artwork.
It is.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Steve. Well, gosh, isn't it important to have that resurgence of energy and that resurgence of getting our back up and being reminded of what we really are capable of, and not... A lot of times I think it's tempting to let these things lie and to sort of lay under them for too long. And so just taking a deep breath and convincing yourself of the realities of who you are as a kinetic believer. We have to do this over and over again.
And to do it successfully, do not allow the antics of the world to be a distraction. Turn that noise off and celebrate yourself. Build yourself up. Work on being you. Work on loving you. Work on moving into exactly who you were meant to be, and become a creator creative with your day and with your time. Cast down all those negative imaginations and all of those thoughts that are trying to steal your best life away from you.
And I know Steve already mentioned it, but if you want to have the support and the love of other Kinetic Believers, make sure to sign up for the private Facebook group. And you can do that through the website, StephenCanyon.com.
Sending out much love to all you KB creatives all around the world.
Thanks as usual, Steve, for all the stomping and all the wisdom.
Bye.